This right here on screen is exactly why 99% of e-commerce brands fail when it comes to Google Ads. I just got access to this new client's account, and honestly, I'm filled with rage. Because if you think Google Ads hasn't worked for your e-commerce brand, chances are the person running your account, whether it be you or an external agency, is messing up to the point where you can never succeed on Google Ads without changing what I'm going to show you in this video. Now look, I've been running demand capture with a premier Google and YouTube ads agency for supplement and wellness brand, and we just onboarded this new client, which is the Google Ads account, which you're seeing on screen now. What I'm about to show you is far more common than people realize. The account that I'm going to show you today was managed by a general, all-purpose, full growth, full stack digital marketing agency. And the crazy part is that they made them zero money. So not only did the brand spend the ad spend to try and make Google Ads work, not only did this agency run the account for 3 months and pretends that they were growing their business, but when you actually look under the hood, there are big mistakes being made. So without further ado, let's see the mistakes they were making and our exact plan to turn this account around so that they can acquire new customers on Google Ads, and you can follow the exact same things I go through in this video so you can do the same. All right, so the first thing I always check when auditing an account is conversion tracking. And what I found here is pretty criminal, to be fair. So here's what this agency was doing. They were primarily using a Google Analytics 4 conversion source as their conversion tracking. And this was set up correctly. However, this is not best practice. The reason why this is a massive problem is because GA4 is notorious for attribution issues, especially after iOS 14.5. Even though that happened 5 years ago, this still affects GA4 conversion tracking to this day. And what happens is you get massively inaccurate conversion data. So your campaigns, you think that they're performing terribly when they might actually be profitable, or worse, you think they're performing well when they're actually losing money. So what we do at Demand Capture, and what every serious e-commerce brand does, is that they set up their own conversion tracking through Google Tag Manager. They don't just rely on the Google and YouTube app through Shopify. They build independent, dedicated conversion tracking specific tags for their store. And this allows you to do a couple of things. It allows you to have better enhanced conversion tracking, and it also allows Google to understand in a much quicker and faster rate the type of customers which are triggering on your conversion events. This means that your campaigns will optimize faster and you'll be more profitable because you have accurate data to understand which campaigns are performing well and which ones aren't. Therefore, you're able to turn off losers and scale winners. So with proper conversion tracking, your smart bidding algorithms will actually work and your cost per acquisition becomes accurate, and you can scale with confidence knowing that your data is reliable. And what most people don't understand when it comes to conversion tracking is that Google is machine learning. I personally think Google's AI is the best AI, and they're moving a lot more of their advertising algorithms over to AI based. There's AI Max for search, demand gen is all AI, PMax is all AI. So the better inputs you're able to give to Google, the better your outputs will be. And if you give no inputs at all and you have bad conversion tracking, then your campaigns won't know how to optimize correctly, which means you're missing out on sales you could be having. You're probably paying more for clicks. You're probably losing out on more auctions, which means it's wasted ad budget. And the longer this happens, the bigger opportunity cost you're paying not having a proper conversion tracking set up. If you want proper conversion tracking, firstly, click this video on screen here. It's our most popular video on our channel on exactly how to do proper conversion tracking for Google Ads. Or if you want to follow this step by step, then we have in our free Google Ads course for e-commerce in the second link in the description exactly how to set up conversion tracking and properly run all of your campaigns specifically targeting cold traffic customers for your e-commerce brand. If you want that, second link in the description, put in your email and it's sent to your inbox instantly. So the second thing I noticed when it came to this ad account that was ran by the old agency is that they weren't leveraging their data. What you can do on Google is that you can upload your customer list and then you can use that as observational targeting for your campaigns. This gives Google even more information on the type of people who are more likely to buy from you. Therefore, when someone who is more likely to buy from you searches on any of the keywords that you're bidding for, or is right for being served your creative which you're running on demand gen, then Google will know better who to show that to, which means your ads are more efficient and you'll make more money. As you can see on screen here, they only had Klaviyo imports in terms of their audiences, and the rest of these audiences are just not in use, as you can see here, not in use. So they weren't leveraging audience data at all, which means that there's 15,000 people that Google can leverage as audience data to better optimize its campaigns and get better performance out of. So what we're going to do, and what you ought to do if you aren't using this, is go into your Shopify account, export your customer list, and then add it as a customer list within Google Ads. Once you're able to use that as an audience signal within your campaigns will perform better. I guarantee that. Again, if you want instructions on exactly how to do this, it's all included in our free Google Ads course for e-commerce, second link in the description. And the big lesson in this is that Google knows more about your customers than you think it does. By giving Google your customer list, you're not giving them a new audience. You're giving them an audience that it's already familiar with, which means it's better able to optimize your campaigns and serve it to the right people. If they've already bought from you before, Google will then know that. Therefore, it will bid the the appropriate amount. If you tell Google who's already bought from you and they search for you again, or if they search for a term again which is related to that, they know whether or not to serve that ad to them based on their purchase history and who they are and what they do and what they used to buy and that type of stuff. Because Google knows so much. If you're just giving them that information, then your ads are going to perform way better. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you're an e-commerce brand doing about $50,000 per month and you want us to scale you on Google Ads, acquire new cold customers for you at a 2 to 4x ROAS, get an expertly built Google Ads system into your brand in just 7 days, and click the first link in the description. Check out our offers, check out our VSL, check out our case studies, check out our free course, check out the rest of the content on this YouTube channel, just so that you know that we're legit. And then when you're ready to finally take Google Ads seriously for your e-commerce brand, book on a call, you know what to do, and we'll get you sorted. Expertly built system, cold customer, top of funnel engine for your e-commerce brand, built in 7 days. Link in the description. Anyway, back to the video. Now let's move over to the campaigns, because this is where it actually gets disgusting. So if you look at this mess here, they've got 6 different search campaigns running simultaneously before they pause them. There's 2 branded search campaigns. First of all, why do you need 2 branded search campaigns? Just run one. And then 2 more search campaigns for different offers, whatever that means. And then the kicker is the main campaign, which is the search campaign, spent $5,000, and this other one spent $1,000 over here. And then the other one spent around $1,000 total. So we're talking about $6,000 in ad spend. Plus they tried to run performance max, but they got their Google Merchant Center suspended, which is another problem we're going to have to solve here at Demand Capture when we scale this brand. And as you can also see, they're all running on max conversions. This shopping test here was on max clicks, but that didn't go anywhere because the GMC was banned. There's no absolute target impression share. There's no max conversion value. There's no thinking about the bidding strategy and what would be appropriate to use that campaign and that bidding strategy for that part of it. They didn't think that far. It's just spend as much as possible and get the max amount of conversions per campaign. But there is a problem with this, and I'll show you now. If we go into this highest spend campaign, they're running 3 different ad groups within this campaign. And that's fine if you've got different things that you want to be targeting. But if we dig deeper into this top one here, which is around generic keywords, and we see what are they actually bidding for and what are they targeting, this first one here is criminal. They're using a phrase match. First of all, never use phrase match. Either use broad or exact if it's branded, broad if it's not. But their top keyword, which they spent the most on and got the most conversions for and the highest ROAS on, is their brand name in a non-branded campaign ad group. If we go into insights and then go into search terms on the left, we're able to break that down even more. Based on this phrase match keyword here and where all the clicks are coming from, you can see all of the main clicks are around their brand name. It's just brand name here, this one here, this one here. I'll blur this out so you don't see the brand, but this one here's a brand name, this one here's a brand name, brand name. It's just all messed up with brand name. So they're blending branded terms with non-branded terms. And this is a complete mess, especially when you give Google maximize conversions. When you give Google maximize conversions, it's going to maximize its conversions. And the easiest conversions to get are the branded ones because they're the cheapest, and Google will just spend all your money on people who are already going to buy from you in the first place at a more expensive rate because of the bidding strategy. If you're going to do branded search, again, link in the description for the full course on how to do this, is that you do absolute target impression share with the exact match of your core brand terms. Because the whole point of a branded search campaign is to protect your brand and make sure that you show top of page. So why not use the bidding strategy, which makes you top of page? If you run anything other than absolute target impression share here, your branded search campaigns, you're messing up completely. So what was happening here in this search campaign is that they had a branded term in a non-branded ad group, which means that, and on the wrong bidding strategy, which means they were wasting thousands of dollars on terms which they were paying so much for to grow no new customers because they were already aware of their brand in the first place. And it gets even worse because if you go into this DSA here, the dynamic ad target is all web pages, which is fine if you have a lot of resources and cold traffic stuff like blogs or learning resources to be able to target for. However, again, if you go into search terms for this DSA campaign, what you'll find is that it is all around the search terms of their brand. So they were basically running an extremely expensive branded search campaign, not only in terms of mixing up their prospecting and non-prospecting search terms in the original ad group, but in this DSA here where they spent another $1,000 or so, it was all just on branded terms because they were using DSA when there were no other resources to do so. Completely amateur, complete waste of money, and a complete scam from this agency. Lastly, in this ad group here, there's a whole bunch of good terms that are running on broad match, phrase match, that type of stuff. Again, I would take out the phrase match, just let broad go. But if they knew their numbers, and we do know our numbers because I asked the client when they onboarded what their unit economics were, we know that these are actually quite profitable. What's profitable for you in terms of a new customer acquisition cost might be different compared to another brand, but for this brand, here it's $35, this one here $27, this one here $35. These are incredible numbers for this brand because of their initial pricing, because of their lifetime value. I'm looking at this and going, okay, I see why the previous agency didn't work because they were overspending on brand and underspending on terms, which were actually profitable for them, even with bad ads. And speaking of that, let's get into the ads here. If we just go into this ad here, it's great that they're using all of the headlines for short, but there's much better opportunities for them in terms of the copy that they're using. there's some best practices that you can use when it comes to Google Ads copy. Again, second link in the description, which includes a swipe file of 101 7 and 8 figure e-commerce brands and all of their best practice Google Ads. You can sort by niche, sort by what they're selling, and just copy their formatting onto your Google Ads as well. Again, second link in the description if you want to learn how to write Google Ads. But here in the images, there's old images here. There's no business logo. The site links are bad. There's no price extension here. There's no promotions going. There's so much more opportunity for them to leverage out these. So even though their targeting's off and the ads are fine and they got a 5.5% click-through rate, which we can get to 8 with better copy and better targeting, they were still profitable on these cold terms. They just didn't know that they were profitable because they didn't understand unit economics. And quite frankly, they didn't know how to run Google Ads for e-commerce, especially when it comes to cold search campaigns. So when you understand your unit economics, you can understand that a $60 cost per acquisition is actually good. It doesn't matter what the CPMs are, it doesn't matter what the CPCs are. As long as your unit economics can withstand that, then you're good to scale. So you ought to scale. But it's, again, this agency didn't know this. So, and the last mistake this brand is making is that they're not running demand gen campaigns. They're all in on Meta. They have advertorials, they have landing pages, they have different types of creatives. They've got statics, they've got podcast ads, they've got UGC, they've got reviews, they've got organic stuff, all spent on Meta. Why not just duplicate those funnels on demand gen? We're seeing extremely cheap CPMs, extremely cheap CPCs, really high click rates, really high conversion rates on demand gen campaigns, especially adhering to direct response cold traffic conversion mechanisms like advertorials, pre-sale pages, that type of stuff. And because they have 3 different offers, each with their own break-even CPA and break-even ROAS, we're able to test all different offers on the different creatives and put a whole bunch of spend behind it to understand what's the best offer going to be on YouTube. And because they haven't touched YouTube at all, that's another thing that they could be doing, all whilst their Google Merchant Center is suspended based on the previous agency's work. So those are the big opportunities that they're missing, just to summarize. Bad conversion tracking, no audience leveraging, too many campaigns, too many branded search campaigns, wrong bidding strategy, mixing up their prospecting and non-prospecting keywords in their ad groups, bad ad copy, which means low click-through rate, and having the right campaign strategy to capitalize on terms which are actually working for them, but because they didn't understand their unit economics, they paused them too early. So they had winners in here, and I'm able to get them to get winners again because they have someone who's an expert who's coming into their brand to be able to scale them up from Google, take them away from Meta independence, and acquire new customers for them, which they wouldn't be able to reach on Meta, Instagram, etc. But the real issue here is that they thought that Google ads wouldn't work for them. They've tried Google before and it didn't work. Well, the GMC was banned, so they didn't even try shopping, which is a lot of revenue in the first place. They didn't understand how to run search campaigns properly. Even though that's a traditional Google search, they were still doing it wrong. And they didn't leverage their video creative on demand gen, which is the other thing that was missing, to be able to spend more into a blue ocean, which no one of their competitors are bidding on in terms of those auctions and those placements in the first place. So whilst I can't guarantee results for this client, I do expect to see a massive amount of uplift in their Google revenue, which is completely new customer focus because we understand the numbers, we can track it, and we can set this up correctly. Just to give you an idea of what we're going to do, we're going to do 1 branded search campaign, 1 non-branded search campaign, and 1 demand gen campaign, whilst we try and get the Google Merchant Center unsuspended. In the non-branded search campaign, we'll be testing loads of different angles, and in the demand gen campaign, we'll be testing all 3 of their offers. We'll see which one wins, but with just those 3 campaigns adhering to signal density, which is another machine learning principle that you need to follow in advertising in 2025, not just on Google, not just on YouTube, but also in Meta as well. I expect to see really good success for this brand, and I'm glad that they came on board now, rather than feeling as if they want to give their Google guy another chance, but they're not doing any of this stuff. They're not thinking about unit economics. They're not thinking about segmenting search phrases. They're not thinking about top of funnel engines. They're not thinking about using Google as a new customer engine. They're just sticking to the weeds, basic shopping campaigns, maybe just 1 PMax and they're running it. And I'm not against that strategy. It works when it works well. But if you're not thinking about top of funnel and using Google as a cold traffic engine for your e-commerce brand, you're definitely missing out. And if you don't want to miss out anymore, there's 2 things I'd like you to do. The first one is to click the first link in the description, watch our VSL, look at our case studies, and book a call with us if you think that we at Demand Capture can help you scale your e-commerce brand. Or if you're not ready yet, the second one is to watch this video on screen here, which is a case study on how we made $500,000 in 31 days for another one of our brands using the exact strategies and thought processes which I took you through in this video here. I'll see you in that video.